Hello, welcome to Cardboard and Plastic. Today's video, I have a SGC Reveal, 30 cards, so it's going to be a little bit bigger of a video. And I did put a little bit of a clickbait title for this video. And it kind of leads me like, why did I grade some of these cards? Now, there's this big movement going on with eye appeal, buying the card, not the grade. However, the majority of people that even say, yeah, I buy the card, not the grade, the majority of those people won't even look at ungraded cards. I try to sell cards on eBay, I gave it up, right? So if I find a card that I can grade, and it will be profitable for the most part for me to grade it, especially if the card has a chance, and I'm going to say the word, a collector's grade. So if a card's from the 60s and it can grade like a 6 or a 7, I'm going to make money off that card. Now, I know people don't want to hear that card, like it's nonsense term. However, when there's people out there looking for cards, they will pay up for like a 6 for the 60s or a 7 for a 60s. And if you get an 8 for a 60s, you just made a ton of money grading that card. So whenever I look at cards, I have binders, and the cards that I put in the binders have great eye appeal for me, right? And so I'm collecting those, but they have a flaw. They have a wrinkle or something like that. So I just put them in a binder. I get to look at them. It's amazing. When I go through cards, though, I pre-grade every single one. And if I see a card like from the 1960s that can get a 7, I'm like, I'm going to hold off. I'm going to try to grade this. So you'll see today that there's misses and there are big gains. And every single one of these cards I bought ungraded in lots from eBay, from ComC. And there wasn't one fake card in here. So I hate when people say like, oh, I'm going to buy a fake card. If you buy a fake card, there's fake cards, by the way. Well, there's fake slabs. There's probably fake cards and slabs. You should be able to tell the difference between a real and fake card if you're in this hobby long enough. So let's go through this reveal. Enough of a rant. So the first card I graded here in the reveal, I bought this, great deal, for 20 bucks. It was 1951 Topps, but it was the connected version. And I knew this card was not going to grade high. Got a 3. I don't care. The thing about the card, right, a little bit of paper loss right there at the top. But these cards, right, are so cool. These are the panels for the 1951 set. And that card, I mean, there's no other better way to present that card than in a holder like this. I mean, these $15 to grade, right? It wasn't more money. So the next bunch here, and we'll start off with a big defeat here. So this happens, right? So this got the evidence of trimming with the TED lines. I bought this from a seller with 3 cards. They all kind of measured up. So I got to kind of take a look to see what happened. And, you know, sometimes these cards have weird cuts. Sometimes people did trim them, right? And the other 2 cards that I have, I kind of, I sent those in as well for my next SGC order. But I looked at those and they didn't have any, it was from the same seller, and I looked at those very carefully. I didn't see any evidence trimming, but this happens. It's still a real card. The next one, the Bill Terry, and it got a 2. I was kind of disappointed in this order with a lot of the lower grades. This is a beautiful 2, and no big serious issues, but I think that's where grading is right now. Grading, I think, has gotten to the point, right, that we have a lot of cards that in the past, right, like a 1.5, I've had like 1.5s before with like multiple creases across the face, even paper loss in the back. And now I'm getting like 1.5s on like a card that has like a little crease on it. It's just where the standards are today. And this is going to kind of lead me into, like, you'll see a lot of these. So I am putting together the 1952 Wheaties set, all in SGC grades. Now, the grade really isn't that important to me, but having the full border around the card is. So what I'm doing, and I put a post out with a picture of the Wheaties wall that I'm starting. I'll do a video on that next week. So what I'm doing, and let me put this in the background, and then I'll show you the 3D print. So this is a 3D print case that I made, and on the back of it, I embedded these N52 magnets. And then I have a metal strip, and what happens is these cards will just go right in the case, and then I'll just attach them onto the little metal bracket that I have. And so it works quite well. I'm 3D printing these cases. I think, like, with the magnets, the price of the plastic, I think they're like 60 cents a piece for me to 3D print. And with this here, I could actually 3D print this on there, but I just printed out this and just attached it with some crazy glue gel. So that's what I'm doing with these cases. So next week I'll show you the wall up to date, and you'll see a lot of Wheaties cards in this reveal, because I've been collecting these with the borders, and I've been grading these. So here's the Preacher Row for the action, and that got a 6. And this is one card. It has that little wrinkle that's pretty serious on the front. But this card got a 1.5, and typically in the past, like, this would get a 2, typically like 1.5s. There should be, in my opinion, like more serious issues, but it is what the grading is. But with this one here, I just graded that one to sell. Even in a 1.5, people can look at the pictures of it, and it will go for a decent price. Selling it raw or ungraded, there's a lot of things that I got to deal with. Telling the seller, disclosing, taking pictures. And then, like, when you sell a card that's ungraded a lot of times, right, it just, the buyers think they're getting a card better than they actually are. So I've had less issues just selling cards in that price range for in slabs. Now, if I sell like a $20 or $15 card, a lot of those are just set collectors, and they're fine. They never give me issues. All right, so let's go through the rest there, and I'll just keep, in my opinion, my favorite 4 cards up there. So here's another Wheaties card, the Ralph Kiner. I got this one slabbed up. I got this one from ComC for a great price. A beautiful 4.5, a little bit of rounded corners, but this is a gorgeous Larry Doby. We'll keep the Terry up there, and that away. This is a card that it's just well centered, but this card is the O-Pee-Chee version. And these cards do not get enough love, especially in a time, right, that everybody's like, oh, like we have short prints, we have parallels, right? O-Pee-Chee cards, there's just a lot less of them than the tops. And I always grab these when I can. And like for the 60s, right, that I said, like, okay, if it has a chance of getting a 7, that's when I try to grade these things. So this one is a really sharp card, a little bit off-center there, got a 6.5, but a beautiful Frank Robinson 1967 tops. And this is why I grade, right? So that card, I think I got, like, I don't even know, like $5 for that card. And now, like, that card's going to be $50 if I try to sell it, maybe even a little bit more if I'm patient. So come up ahead on a lot of these cards, right? So I lose money on some, but a lot of these I gain money, not a little bit, a lot of money. So here we go. This card I bought from the same seller on ComC. And there we go. Look at that beautiful 67 Roger Maris. And typically, a lot of times, if cards grade this high, I typically sell them. This one just looks so nice. That's staying in my collection. There's just certain cards. Like I have a 1984 Fleer Update Kirby Puckett that it got a 10. But the centering is just perfect. I love that card. And even though I could sell it for like $1,400, $1,500, I'm just going to keep that card. This card is a 1962 Brooks Robinson. Again, got the 6.5, so it does add value. Oh, and here we go. This is the 1960 Lake to Lake Red Shandings. I got a 6 before, so this one got a 7.5. I guess since it doesn't have the either the punch out or the staple mark in it, it's a fake card. But the Red Shandings, like I find a lot of these like without the staple marks. However, like the Hank Aaron's, the Warren Spahns, like all of those. So yeah, I think a lot of this, like who wants a Red Shandings card? He's irrelevant, right? So they don't even bother stapling it to the milk carton box back then. And here's another big loss here. This card I sent to PSA, and it got a minimum size not met. And I kind of looked at it, I'm like, it's cut a little short. So minimum size not met at PSA, but then SGC basically said evidence of trimming. It is a card that's a little bit short. I thought it would get a grade, but not. And again, it'll just stay in my PC until I upgrade. Now, what does upgrading mean? Well, it could be that if I get another Roger Maris that looks just like that, but has like a little wrinkle in it, I would put that in my binder, and I'm like, I got the card, and I'm going to sell that thing. Because I could take that card, I probably could sell that for $250. It's crazy what some of those higher SGC cards even sell for now. Here's another Wheaties card. Ralph Kiner. This is the action. And this is what you're going to see. I graded a lot of these for my Wheaties wall. Another Ralph Kiner. And it's kind of funny. It's hard to find a lot of the females from the 1952 Wheaties set. like, I think a lot of people just, like, if it wasn't like like a big baseball player or football player, they tossed a lot of these, I think. So it's really hard to even find those with the blue borders. Beautiful Phil Rizzuto. And I'll just go through a bunch of these. George Kell. Doak Walker. Got a 6. And I actually bought, like, I got that one, but I have this one, right, in a PSA slab. I'll probably just sell the one in the PSA slab or try to trade it for another one. Bob Waterfield. And this is his action. I got a few 7s. I haven't got above a 7 with any of these. I don't know how you get above a 7. I don't like the cards when they're cut. Like, I think that's how you would get a higher grade, but I don't care. I like the rounded corners to go around this. I don't like the look of having like a rectangle and then the circle inside of it. Just a preference for me. So even if I get those and they have the sharp corners, I actually cut them to make them rounded. I just kind of reminds me of the set I collect, right? The 1951 Topps. Bob Lemon. Got another 7 for that. 5.5. Four for the Bob Feller. Bob Davies. I already have a 7 for the Bob Davies, but I had another one that got a 6. I'm actually going to look at my 2 copies. I think I'm going to sell the 7, keep the 6. The 6 has a little bit, the 7 has the full blue border, but this one has more of it. And then I got one last card. And let me see. Got to take down one of these for this card. So this is kind of where buying ungraded cards and grading them, I just really just look out, and eventually, like once in a while, you get a steal. So a lot of people are scared of fakes. This one, I got the 1933 Tattoo Orbit. This is the Connie Mack. And got a 4. This is an absolutely gorgeous card. And this is kind of the thing, what I use grading for as well, is I can add a lot of value or get cards I normally wouldn't pay for, right? So the last couple of these Connie Macks, there was like a 1.5 that I was watching in the Fanatics Collect auction. I think the 1.5 went for like $500, $600, something crazy. And then there was like a PSA 6 recently, I believe, in one of the auction houses that went for like $800, $900, right? So, I mean, right there, I mean, I would have to pay $500, $600 and getting in a bidding war with somebody to get a card like that. So, kind of, this is how much I paid for this card and this card. So these 2 cards, I paid with grading fees $150 for the cards, the grading fees, the shipping for those 2. And grading adds the value to these things, right? So definitely this Connie Mack Roger Maris, like those things are just staying in my PC. The majority of these cards are going to stay in my PC. Like the one that I'm going to sell probably right away is this Warren Spahn, just because I already have it. I think I have it in a 2.5. So in the comments below, let me know what was your favorite card of the reveal. And I'll have a video next week of my Wheaties wall that I'm putting together. And I did decide for the black over orange and navy blue. It just looks a lot better, in my opinion. I think my wall would have looked like a Halloween store if I actually just did orange cases around the black. It would have been crazy. So if you watched all this way, thank you for watching. And as always, have a great day. Keep on collecting.